When I first started training for my vertical jump about a year and a half ago, I got a low rim from one of my buddies, and when I got that low rim, I started jumping a lot more. And because of how specific that is to what my goal was, I jumped a lot, so I naturally got a higher vertical jump, right? And then also added that onto the weightlifting that I already did. I started doing legs about twice a week. I wasn't as consistent in the weight room, more so than I was with jumping, but having those two still together is when I made even more progress, right? I got my first dunk on about like 9.8, 9.9, and then when I did that, a few months after that, I decided to invest in my training and get coaching for it, which is THP, which is what I'm on right now. And now I'm doing way more weightlifting than I am with jumping, but the way they program it, now I have made so much more progress. Now I've dunked off a lob. I've already dunked off the dribble on like about 9.9 and below. So I'm going to give you a few tips today that'll hopefully give you an idea of how to balance your weightlifting and your jumping to maximize your performance and maximize your gains in your vertical jump. So the first thing I want to tell you is don't overuse the weight room. And if you do overuse the weight room, it could result in injury. Why? Because the most specific thing that you're trying to do is jumping, right? So jumping should be the thing that you're doing the most, because on my jump days, I jump as much as I can. It's where most of my fatigue is coming from, and it is from jumping. But if you do too much of the weight room and too much jumping, that can result in injury. So the amount of work you're doing in the weight room should not be enough to fatigue you so much to the point where you're not jumping that high on your jump days. Your jump days, you should still be jumping decently high. Obviously, if you've done it for a few weeks, you're gonna be fatigued, so you're obviously not gonna be jumping as high, but you still wanna use the weight room to you don't want to overuse the weight room. You want to have enough juice for your jump days, so then that is when you're pretty much going all out for as much as your body can handle. If you're healthy, obviously if you're injured, you'd be going through a whole different progression with trying to get rid of the injury, or not get rid of it, more so manage the injury and get it down to a level where you can go full out and go high intensity and then do all that good stuff. So how would you do this? You would want to have specific intensities and do a specific amount of volume in the weight room with your compound lifts and your accessory lifts. What are compound lifts and accessory lifts? Compound lifts are lifts where you're using multiple muscle groups at once. So instead of a prime mover, there are prime movers. So then, let's say for your squat, it would be the prime movers would be your glutes and your quads. And then for accessory lifts, that's where you are having a prime mover with one specific muscle. So for example, let's say like a hamstring curl, you're using mainly your hamstrings to move that. And same thing for hip thrust. For hip thrust, you are mainly using your booty cheeks to move the weight up and down. So you're not gonna train like you're going for hypertrophy. For hypertrophy, you're just going to failure. At least most of the time, you're not always going to failure when you're training for your vertical jump. But when you're training for your vertical jump, you want to kind of build up. So you want to have like a one set where you're doing, like, let's say you're squatting, and let's say, oh, this set I do 135, then I'll go up to 155, 175, 185, and then those last few sets are going to be the sets where you're going your heaviest. That is mainly for compound movements as well. That is the way you can not use so much energy in the weight room, which, well, you're obviously still going like max intent, but the way it's set up, no matter how hard you push yourself, you're not going to be fatigued enough to the point where on your jump session you're going to be jumping low as hell. You're still going to have enough of that juice to be able to use that on your jump sessions. And then for accessory movements, the point of accessory movements is to kind of like get stronger and kind of grow the specific muscles that you use to jump higher. So the main ones are your calves, your glutes, not your glutes, your quads, and your glutes, which are the three muscles in triple extension, which is exactly what you're doing in a vertical jump. So with that all being said, you want to use the right exercises to organize your training in a way to be able to then have a good jump session and still be able to make the most gains from that jump session, because it's about those reps and reps and reps of that jumping, which is gonna improve your coordination, your strength, you know, how like everything is coming together basically all in that one movement, which will ultimately improve your vertical jump, which is what you are trying to improve. So that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it valuable. If you did, like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. That was a short ass one.